Hello, hello. It's a bit strange for me to be coming live in the evening, but we'll see how this time frame pans out for the future. I have a whole new setup, a whole new office, a whole new spot where I've got to look at my webcam and all the new things, right? I have a new elephant mug from I can't even remember where, but it's all new. So we'll go through it together. All right. So, what's my topic today? We're talking about carbs. Now, there's something that I don't know if you've ever done Weight Watchers. I've done all the things, as I'm sure most of you have, but many years ago, there was a Weight Watchers instructor, lecturer, whatever you want to call her. And she said something that really resonated with me. And she said, "You can have anything, you just can't have everything." Right. And I think that applies to a lot of things in life. But when it comes to carbs, what I've learned in these last 3 weeks living in Thailand, where I have been eating carbs, not, I wouldn't say every meal, and I certainly would say some days I haven't. It's sort of been all over the place, but I haven't limited myself because we're trying to settle into a new country, a new home, understand what's around us in the way of eating, that kind of thing. But I haven't been too hard on myself about it. Here's the funny thing is that I have not put on any weight. In fact, I've lost a little bit of weight since I left Australia. My measurements are the same, so no inflammation in my legs. I'm not sore, so inflammation is not like taking hold in any other way for me. So I'm going to say that the carbs that I've been eating have not been affecting me too much. However, you can have anything, you just can't have everything. There's a flip side to that. There's a balance to that. And that is, I have been exercising way more than I normally would. Okay. So we are doing, averaging 15,000 steps a day. I have started a new challenge on the exercise bike in the gym here. So the last couple of days, I've been doing 20 and 30 minutes on the exercise bike. We were swimming. We're doing all kinds of things that I just normally don't do. So, where carbs are not the best for us with lipedema, I have to wonder if there's a flip side of doing a lot of exercise, then maybe that's enough to counteract the carbs. Now, the carbs that I'm eating, there's not that much in the way of, and let's face it, here in Asia, Southeast Asia, the carbs are rice essentially. I've had a couple of portions of mango and sticky rice, so the rice and noodles. We've had some cow soy noodles. Most of the noodles, though, are rice-based noodles here. So rice has been probably the predominant carb that I wouldn't normally eat. But I have to wonder the amount of steps and exercise that I'm doing that I also normally wouldn't do. Is that counteracting the carbs? Because when we think about it with lipedema, exercise is crap, right? Usually we don't like exercising, we don't move much because it is hard work. So, because we're just normally exercising because we don't have a car anymore, we're walking everywhere, we're taking the train. We went to the Chatuchak markets this morning for a few hours and it was 10,000 steps before we'd even gotten back at lunchtime. So, we're doing these extra steps. So I have to wonder is the carbs really bad for the lymphatics? Or if we are exercising a lot, the exercise's positive effects on the lymphatics, does that counteract carbs? And as I said, I'm not eating them at every meal. So am I going to get away with eating carbs here because I'm exercising that much more? I'm not sure. Time will tell on that one. There is a lot of evidence there with all the big hitters in the lipedema world that have researched grains and carbs that are toxic to the lymphatics. So I haven't gone down that road of really trying to figure that out for me personally, because there is research on everything about everyone, right? There's for any argument you want to make in any situation, of any type of food, of any type of protocol. There's as much evidence out there for it to be good for us as much evidence to be bad for us. Whatever you want to find, you will find it on YouTube or anything else. So I always come back to, how is it affecting me personally? Because that's what matters at the end of the day. It doesn't matter that there's 10 studies that's for carbs and 10 studies that are against carbs. What matters is, how does it affect us? And that's what I'm always trying to figure out for myself. So in 3 weeks in Bangkok, and as I said, I haven't been eating carbs every single meal, every single day, perhaps not more. Not every day actually. So it's just a bit hit and miss at the moment, and it's mostly rice. And there has been, I think, 2 lots of noodles. And because of my gastric sleeve, I can only eat so much of it anyway. So that kind of helps. But the sheer amount of exercise that I'm doing, I feel like that's counteracting or negating the negative effects of the carbs, because I'm having none. The fact that I have lost weight since I left Australia, and that my measurements are still the same, my knees, which are always a telltale with carbs, if I'm eating too many carbs that don't agree with me, my knees hurt, right? I had a double knee replacement in 2020, and they hurt if I'm eating things like, say, bread. And I'm not sure, apart from a 7-Eleven ham and cheese toasty, which is like an institution here in Bangkok. And I have to say, it was nice, but I wouldn't say it was, let's write home about it. It was just a cheese toasty. My husband will disagree with me, but he loved it. But yeah, apart from that, we have not been eating any bread. So is it the bread that is really a problem with me? So I always encourage all of us to figure out what affects us personally, and then apply that. You can have anything, you just can't have everything. If you want to have everything, well, you're going to have to counteract that by doing an enormous amount of exercise or movement. And I wouldn't say that the exercise that we're doing is exercise for exercise sake, apart from the fact that I've started a new 30-day challenge, and I've measured my legs and all that kind of thing on the exercise bike. That is the only specific exercise that I'm doing right now. Everything else is walking. Literally, pardon me, everything else is walking. So walking to the train, walking around the shops, or walking around the city, walking around the park, just to get fresh air at the end of the day. So really nothing more than walking and the exercise bike at the moment. So is that enough to negate what carbs I'm eating? That's what I'm going to find out as time goes by. Admittedly, at the moment, we're still trying to figure out how to eat here, and what are the best options, and what are the non-Western options, because there's heaps of that. I can get burgers, I can get pizza, I can get anything that I want. There's nothing you can't get here. I am finding anything that I order with a broth in it, so it has been made with beef bones and all the things, chicken broth, whatever, is insanely good. I cannot get over how good they taste. Really, really good. So yeah, and everything's made from scratch as well. So that's another thing that can be causing inflammation, is all the pre-processed, pre-made foods. So am I feeling good because everything is made from scratch, even though I'm eating rice? And as I said, I'm not having rice every day, but and way more than I normally would have. But yet everything's still great. I still feel good mentally. I feel good emotionally, which generally carbs and dairy and a lot of that kind of thing, can have a tricky effect on my brain. So, and how I feel, particularly dairy. If you've been following me for a long time on other channels, back in the day, many years ago, I had to stop coffee and dairy because I was getting panic attacks from the dairy, and I didn't work out what it was. I thought it was the coffee, and I gave up coffee. Then I figured out it was the milk. It was the dairy. But I am having an iced coffee, because everything comes iced here, unless you specifically ask for it to be hot. And that seems to be not affecting me either. As I said, I brought my scales from home. If you watch my Bangkok survival kit as to what I brought with me, the scales are out. I'm stepping on them every day. I am tracking how my legs feel. I'm tracking how my knees feel. I am measuring things. So nothing seems to be out of whack at this point for me, which is amazing. Will that continue? I don't know. Is it simply that I'm walking enough and moving enough, and that's enough to keep the lymphatics working well, even though I'm consuming the carbs? I don't know. If anyone's out there that does exercise a lot and eats the carbs and has the same situation, please let me know. Please share with me. But yeah, considering I was almost scared to eat the carbs when I got here, even though I knew for the first couple of weeks it was going to be tricky and I was going to eat whatever I had to eat to get through this transition period. I've been actually really surprised that nothing much has changed for me in the respect of what I can measure. And as for feelings and things like that, I'm the first person that if something's not agreeing with me, I will get depressed, I will get anxious, I will overthink everything, all those things that we do. That is very often food related. And I know for me, it gets like that very much so. So all of that is in check right now. So, which is really interesting, right? And I'm even having this is oat milk in my tea. My Cuppa is tea tonight. And normally I wouldn't have oat milk. Back home in Australia, I would have macadamia milk. Can't get that here. And a lot of the milks here are quite dubious with the seed oils and all the additives in that thing on the side, but you do what you can do, right? And at the moment, it's like starting again. It's like starting at the beginning of your disease, or when I got thyroid disease and I went to college and I was just learning, but now I'm just learning like where to find things. Even standing in the supermarket, the amount of not detergent, wash clothes detergent is insane. Trying to find one that doesn't have the fragrances in it, because remember, fragrances, any kinds of fragrances and colors and that sort of thing, will contain phthalates, and that can drive lipedema. So that will unhook or unhinge your hormones. So this is kind of my focus at the moment, is standing in the shops trying to in Australia, it seems really obvious that this is kind of the organic stuff, but here it's not so much. So between all of that kind of thing and navigating carbs and the fact that there's rice in everything, like we got some, they're called mupeng, I think they are. So it's flattened pork mince on a stick. So it's sort of like flat and wide, but it's like a satay stick, but it's not satay. It's just this pork. It's clearly got some kind of sweet syrupy glaze on it because it tastes amazing. But even that, the other day we ordered some of that from a Michelin rated street food court vendor, and it's got rice in the crumb sort of thing. So there's kind of no avoiding the rice here. I'm sure I'm going to get to that point, but trying to avoid the rice is the trickiest part, I think, from a carb perspective here. So I'm obviously going to keep up the exercise because that's how we're getting around this city. That's not going to change. Although now that we've settled down and I've got my office and all that kind of thing, this is the first week it's been set up, which is why we didn't go live last weekend. It's maybe I'll be home more. Maybe I won't be walking as many steps, but I'll be tracking all of that as well. And because I'm tracking all those things, and as I say to you all the time, you've got to track yourself. You've got to find a way that for you how things change, and so that you can pull it in really quickly. If you go, oh, you know what, I've had rice the last 3 days in a row and, I'm up a kilo or I'm up 2 pounds, which I normally am not, or my measurements are higher or whatever it is, or you're just feeling awful, you're getting headaches or you're feeling down or you're feeling a bit depressed or despondent or whatever it is, whatever that is for you, that's how you track whether things are okay for you or not. I used to be really dogmatic about food, and I was the plant-based queen. Many of you know this. But now I'm not so dogmatic about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So our bodies can all handle different things at different times. So it's up to us to read our body and to understand when our body's not coping with something that we're consuming or something we're putting on it. But from the perspective of carbs and carbohydrates, um, so the other thing I've started trialing as well is creatine. So I'm doing a video on that at the moment. It's creatine for lipedema specifically. And so I've been trialing taking creatine. Now, creatine is meant to add water weight. However, it's not water weight in your body, it's water being drawn into the muscles. So, but the scales haven't gone up for me yet. So, am I dropping weight even though I'm having the carbs because of all the exercise and the walking? Who knows? But while I feel good and while things are moving along okay, and then there's no sort of warning signs for me specifically, remember, it's all about specifically you. What are your warning signs? Unless you know your warning signs, you know, you're just throwing, mud to the wall and seeing what sticks. So, while I have no warning signs that the rice that I'm having here or there or the noodles, and as I said, in 3 weeks, I think I've had the noodles twice. So it's not every day. I've had rice every second day, maybe. I have noticed the mango and sticky rice. If I have that at night, I've had it twice. And because I've had gastric sleeve, that actually takes me over 3 to 4 meals each one. And I have noticed that I don't feel as good having that at night, but that could just be the fruit at the end of a meal. I don't know how many of you know much about food combining, but back in the day, back in the 80s, there was a protocol out there called Fit for Life by Harvey Diamond, and it was all about food combining. And it said how if you ate fruit, after a meal, fruit goes through your body in 15 minutes. So if you've got a meal sitting there, meat, carbs, that kind of thing, and then you eat fruit afterwards, often you'll end up with a bellyache because the fruit then sits and can't go through and ferments. And fermented fruit is alcoholic, right? It makes alcohol, so it doesn't make you feel very well. And I did notice that the couple of times that I had the mango sticky rice after some protein, because I try to have protein first to make everything, keep my blood sugars stable. I didn't feel as great. So I don't think I'll be having that for a while. And if I do have it again, because I see one that looks amazing, I will probably eat it on its own and see how I get on. So it's all about being completely aware of your body and what it's telling you. Always your body is talking to you. Okay. So rather than sit in, the sadness or the overwhelm of not knowing why your body feels awful, perhaps sit in the curiosity of, oh, that's interesting. Why do I feel really sad? Yet there's nothing to be really sad about. Or why do I have a sore belly? Or why do I have, here's a good example of listening to your body, and it might be TMI, but I'm going to share because that's what I do. When we first got here, we stayed in a hotel for 2 weeks, and within about a week, I started to get a really bad pain in my belly. Now, I had continued to do my enemas and all that kind of thing, so I couldn't work out why I had this pain. And it turns out, through a series of events, that it was the toilet. The toilet had a Japanese with all the sprays and gadgets and the blow dryer and the seat warmer and all that sort of thing, but it was on this sort of tilt. So it was too tall for me. So if you're not sitting on the toilet in a correct way for your body, then you're not going to release everything you need to release. And that's what happened for me. And then one day I was in a shopping center, and oh my Lord, I had the biggest poop of my life, I reckon. And stomach gone, no problem. So it's listening to your body. And for those few days or a week, I was listening because I knew that was an unusual feeling for me, but I wasn't in fear. I was just sitting with it and going, what is that pain? That's not normal for me, right? So this is when we're trying to figure out things like carbs or any other food that we're trying to test. You've got to be listening to your body, keeping a diary, taking note of any new things, not being scared by them, but being curious by them, right? So, and it's also knowing things like, perhaps you can eat fruit with, your keto and you're fine, but you just can't eat the fruit after meals. You've got to have it beforehand. That Fit for Life program, that was you would eat fruit, nothing but fruit up until midday. And then at lunchtime, it was more carb type foods, so carbs and sugars. And then dinner was heavy protein, but no carbs. So it was all about combining your foods in a way that was easy for your body to digest. So, maybe for me, that's going to work for me, something like that now, although I am very much invested in the fact that protein keeps blood sugars stable. So I tend to be a scrambled eggs for breakfast girl kind of thing, which I am still doing here. And eggs are so much cheaper. So yay. And they're huge. They're massive. So I don't have to have as many as well, or often that I'm handing them over to hubby as the leftovers for him for breakfast as well. So there's still lots of things for me to trial. I still want to believe that I can have a little bit of anything down the track and still maintain and stop the lipedema growth. Will that be because everything's made fresh here, and then when they run out of something, that's it, they've run out, and then the next day they make it all again? It's not like they, come up with something new. It's just they make it fresh every day. That can have a huge effect on us health-wise by having freshly made food and stuff that's grown locally and things that are in season. Will all of that negate carbs like rice, or will that be okay for me? So I'm going to continue to track that, and I will continue to bring that information to you as I figure it out. But keep in mind, I've done a lot of hard work to get to this point in time. So now it's maintaining it and making sure that the lipedema does not progress in the wrong direction again. So that's where I'm at. So it's been really, really interesting. And the whole moral of this story and what I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that is the enormous amount of exercise that I don't normally do that I'm doing now, is that negating the effects of the carbs? The carbs are supposedly poison to our lymphatics. Exercise is like a balm to the lymphatics. So who knows, right? I don't know. I don't know what's happening there, but I do know at this point, everything's running as it should be. My weight is down. My measurements have not changed. We will see what happens with my measurements at the end of my 30-day exercise bike challenge. So I'll keep you posted on that one. Because back in the day, so this isn't carb related, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Before I knew I had lipedema, before all of that, the only way that I would lose measurement or lose inches, centimeters, whatever your currency is, in my legs was to sit on an exercise bike for like an hour a day. I could drop inches that way. And now I know why. It's because you're pumping the lymphatics in your legs, right? So you're getting that venous return, you're getting the fluid return. So I haven't been somewhere where I've had an exercise bike, and I'm not great on an actual bike because of my double knee replacement, because they only go back so far. But in this condo, it's got a gym downstairs, and it's got one of those spin bikes. So I can put it up really tall and set it at a certain setting, and we'll see what happens with that. Great to see you in your new home. Very exciting and very interesting to hear about Thailand. Yes. I'm so grateful to have this little section of our condo. It's a very small condo, one bedroom, and but we couldn't have done it without this little space because I still work. So I still see clients. And yesterday I went back to my calendar's back open again for anybody that was holding off on booking an appointment or another appointment. So yeah, everything went well. And yesterday, seeing clients again, and everything seemed to work. So that was the biggest tricky bit, was making sure that everything worked okay. But Wi-Fi is installed, everything's installed. I've got my new big monitor and all the things. So we're off and running. And yeah, so everything, it's quite amazing. I thought I would be far more stressed than I am. Just with finding new foods, finding where we purchase all our normal things, getting, and I've started another new little thing of vitamin C first thing in the morning, because I've been watching Dr. Sarah. I'm going to say Highland is her name. She's on all the channels at the moment, and she is talking about a lot of gut health, and she advocates to have vitamin C drinks. So like ascorbic acid, ester C, whatever whichever one you want to get, pure vitamin C first thing in the morning to sterilize the upper gut. The upper gut is meant to be sterile. And being over here, we've actually even started to brush our teeth in the Thailand water, which you can do. Even the locals, the Thais, they brush their teeth, but they just don't drink the water. So I had hydrocell with me, which we brought with us. And so I just started doing that. And we haven't missed a beat so far. So 3 weeks, we haven't had any issues apart from my pooping issue. So we're all good there. But definitely the vitamin C will be helping with anything that comes along in that respect, any gut health stuff. So that's another thing I'm looking into. So I've got a lot of videos coming your way now that I'm back up and I can edit again and all those good things. We're back up and running. And so any questions you have, anything specific you want me to talk about or research or watch a million videos on for you on your behalf, because I know not everybody has the time nor the inclination to watch a million videos and lectures and dig into particular topics around something. So I've got creatine coming up, creatine and lipedema. And what are the other things? I filmed this back in Australia, but haven't edited it yet because it was really long, on eating 140 grams of protein every day. That was a game changer, let me tell you. So yeah, there's a few things coming up. So, but if there's anything specific you want me to look into and research and discuss with you, please let me know. Please drop it in the comments so that I can look into it all for you and see what I can come up with. Because now we're back down to, right, let's get into this lipedema life, no matter where it's situated, no matter where it is in the world. And it's still the same. It's still about the hormones. It's still about, God, what's the other thing? I've lost my train of thought now, but it's still about keeping everything, on an even keel. The blood sugar, all the hormones, all the stress, everything even, so that I don't drive lipedema. So that is my whole soul focus. And as I learn more, I will bring you more. So that's it from me on a Sunday night. Also, let me know if this time frame is better for you, because if it is, we will keep it up. But I'm certainly going to keep it up at this time for the foreseeable future, and we'll see how we get on. So just for the sake of continuity. All right, everyone. I hope everybody is well. I hope you are taking care of yourself and looking after yourself in the best way that you know how to for you. And I will see you next Sunday. Bye.